Hi, I'm Chris from 7Y. We're running an initiative with South Gloucestershire Council regarding thermal camera imaging, and you can pick them up from your local library. This is what they look like, and I'll show you today what you can do with it, how to use it, and what you might expect to find. This is the camera that you'll pick up. It might look complicated, but it's not. If you don't see anything on your thermal image, that's because you've still got the cap on. There's the trigger at the front, and that'll be for actually taking the images and capturing a screenshot of them. And then on the back of it, you've got the on-off button, the middle button, which works like a joystick, and that'll scroll you through the menus. And then the right-hand side button, which is for viewing the gallery, so the photos that you've taken. We'll firstly talk about the color palette. People see things differently. You can change the color palette to suit your own eyes by hitting the middle button, the OK button, which will bring up the menu, and then just scrolling down to the palette using the middle button as a little joystick. Push down on it, and then you've got the 4 options for the color palettes that you can choose. We've had the heating on in the property because it's quite a mild day at the moment, so we've warmed up the inside of the house so that when we look at the outside of the house we can see where the heat is escaping. Okay, so we're outside, and as we pan the camera up the building, you'll notice that the colour palette changes quite dramatically. So you've got to be aware that the colour palette will shift depending on what's hot and what's cold in the frame. So framing is very important. And one of the other bits to note is the pixel mark in the centre. At the moment, that pixel is holding on about 12 degrees. And again, as I scroll up, the whole palette is changing. It is still only 12 degrees, 12.3. As the front of the house is bathed in sunlight at the moment, it's throwing off the temperature readings. So for example, the front door, which is black, is absorbing the heat wonderfully from the sun. What we're going to do is we're going to move around to the back of the house where it's not in full sun, and it'll show us where the heat losses are. Okay, we're at the back of the house now, and we're looking at the back patio door. What we can see in this image, which is perfectly normal, is that you've got a red patch at the top in the centre of the door, which is the trickle vents inside that are letting some of the heat out. You could close your trickle vents, but what you may well see then is in the morning, you'll get a line of condensation at the bottom of the windows. You've got to work out yourself a balance between heat loss and ventilation. We'll go through to the inside of the house to give us a truer idea about the heat loss areas. I've just swept the area around the window to look at the heat loss areas. Anything that breaks from the actual wall itself is going to be a colder point, and the windows and doors are always areas where you'll have heat escaping from a building. Most commonly, right at the bottom of the edges, you can see the blue lines to show that the heat is escaping. And if they're stronger around the window opening, that will be partly to do with the draft proofing, most likely. So check your draft proofing strip around the edges of your window as it opens. As I've swept the area around the window, I've noticed that we've got a blue patch on the ceiling itself. Could be one of a number of things. It could be the insulation in the roof above, or it could be that as we have a bathroom and ensuite to the right of this wall here, it could be that there's some moisture that's coming across from the bathroom, and it may well be that the duct is loose. As well as looking for cold spots in your property, you can also find the hot spots. So we've just panned the camera up from the radiator to show the pipework that's hidden within the wall, and that's a run of red. You'd also be looking at things like underfloor heating to see whether your pipework is all good and glowing the same colour, and something like a hot water tank. If that's glowing too red in comparison to the rest of the surroundings, then it's losing more heat. So put a tank jacket around it and save yourself a bit of money and stop the heat escaping. So just on the way out and spotted the radiator. You can use your thermal camera to look at your radiators, see if there's any sludge build up, which is going to affect how efficient your radiator is. So if you see any kind of darker spot in either a semicircle or a triangle at the bottom of the radiator, then that means that it's not heating fully. You might need your system flushed, but obviously seek further advice first. That's the end of the video. I hope you found everything informative and you understand how to use the camera and what to look for. If you haven't got one, then head over to one of the South Gloucestershire libraries and you can pick one up. And if you do, and if you find something that you're not sure about, please do contact a professional for advice. And also, if there's anything that we've spoken about in the video that you want further information on, visit www.warmandwell.co.uk/camera. Thank you.